ISIAH Factor Uncensored starts now. Here we go, folks. Welcome and thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored tonight. Now, if you missed our announcement, we'll be starting at this time for the next few weeks. So hang in there with us. Now to our top discussion tonight, which has been at the center of a huge debate here in Texas's education community. The state school voucher program. Beginning February 4th, families will be able to apply for the program, which offers individual accounts of more than $10,000 per student to help pay for their education of their choosing, including private school tuition, $2,000 for homeschool kids, and $30,000 for special needs children. It will be distributed by a lottery system, but the move has received political backlash. Joining us to talk about it tonight, Texas State Representative and former school board member Jolanda Jones and conservative political analyst Angela Box, who is also a former educator right here in Houston. Ladies, welcome to The Factor Uncensored. So, Jolanda, this sounds like a good deal.
No, it doesn't.
Why would you be against it?
Oh, yeah, and let me be clear. I voted against it. I'm against it because it is absolutely the defunding of public education. And the statistics show that kids who are homeschooled and who use vouchers, if they're put back in school, they're behind. It leads to school closures. It leads to school consolidations. It is a hot mess. And everybody thinks they can educate kids. Well, if it was so easy, people wouldn't be sending their kids to public education anyway. And so I think people think it's going to be a money grab. It's not that way, and it's just a real problem. It's a real problem. It is the first step in the demise of public education in Texas.
All right, Angela, do you see it the same way, or do you think this is a good deal for the children
No,
of
I
Texas?
do not. There's one political party that is squarely against school choice, and that is Jolanda's political party. Now, if public education wants to get its act together, they need to do three things. The first and the biggest thing is to get discipline under control and to start being honest about the culture of the discipline problem. Barack Obama in 2014 put an initiative forward, and I remember because I was teaching.
Is it 2025 right now? 2026?
Let me explain. In 2014, Barack Obama put an initiative forward that is still, it was in effect long enough to affect discipline in a very problematic way. That said that black and brown kids, because they are getting disproportionately sent to the office more, that teachers need to stop doing that. So discipline has gotten more and more out of control. Parental issues have gotten more and more out of control. Teachers are not getting support from administrators, from parents, and from kids.
And so how will this new program help that when we talk about discipline problems, saying you're absolutely right about that?
Okay, so discipline needs to be handled. We need to go back to old school discipline, bring back corporal punishment, whatever it takes.
But do you think that'll happen
what they got
in
to do with
private
vouchers?
schools?
No, I think what'll happen is the kids that are stuck in these horrific schools, that have horrible discipline problems, that have left-wing teachers that are pushing propaganda,
Or
that are not pushing basics of reading, writing, arithmetic. They're going to get to be going to a school that is going to better serve their needs. And this is going to be a very big problem for public schools. If they want to compete in the arena of ideas, they're going to have to get their acts together in those three ways.
I absolutely disagree with that. So let me be clear. There are already complaints that the schools that are getting the money are Christian schools. Newsflash, newsflash, there's more than just Christian religion, okay? Muslims aren't getting money. There have been complaints about the Chinese immersion schools. That's a problem. That's the first thing I'll say. And what does discipline in public school have to do with vouchers? So it's a bunch of parents that allow their kids to run around crazy. Parents are not qualified to teach. In most instances, there's a lack of a curriculum in private schools with vouchers. I mean, the statistics show that. So you have one parent teaching their child this, another parent teaching their child that, or what I saw, and one reason that I ran for the school board, was they were giving out money, say, to charter schools. Everybody thinks they can educate kids.
Right.
There's a reason why there's a whole degree on education.
And my question was, do you think we'll see a lot of fly-by-night
absolutely.
schools as a result? Already 300 schools have signed up here in Houston alone, more than 1,000. Are you concerned about fly-by-night schools?
I am, but you know, it's interesting because Jolanda was on the school board before I started yelling at the Houston ISD school board, and the biggest reason we were yelling at the Houston ISD school board was because basically of the pornography that was in the public libraries. So once again, the Democrat Party.
Now, you don't mean literally pornography.
No, I mean literal.
What does that have to do with vouchers?
What is that? Because children should not be exposed to that, and public educators.
There was no pornography.
There was all kinds of gay LGBTQ stuff in the public libraries.
I'm GLBT.
I don't.
So what does that have to do with anything?
Okay.
What does that have to do with
You're
anything?
not a child. You're an adult. You get to make those your own decisions. It should not be pushed on children, which is one of the reasons. Okay. Anyway, it was in the public school system, in the public school libraries. And the Democrat Party, again, the Democrat Party needs a bunch of woke, uninformed, uneducated people that continue the cycle of welfare dependency and out-of-control behavior, or they are not in power. And parents who want their kids to get a good education should be able to utilize this program.
Let me be clear. I'm woke. I'm well educated. Kids deserve a diversity of education, not like white education or just Christian education.
So math and phonics.
Girl, can you please? I didn't interrupt you. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. So vouchers, there are going to be a bunch of fly-by-night schools. They're thinking, oh, if I can get $10,300 per kid, oh, if I can get 30 kids, do the math. You're going to have a bunch of people who are well-intentioned, and I will tell you, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and that's what vouchers are going to do. And with every dollar that goes into private school through vouchers, it comes out of the public schools, and public schools have fixed costs. They've got building costs, they've got buses, they've got teachers, they have libraries, they have those kind of things that have to be paid for, and you're going to have a lot of school closures and a lot of school consolidations because the money that's leaving public education, and 90% of kids are still in public education.
All right.
And that means that the public schools are going to have to get it together.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. And before we go, we want to remind you that closing for the deadline to close and put in your application will be in March 17th. And of course, February 4th is when you start to put those applications in. Still ahead tonight, we dive into filing those taxes in the midst of a partial government shutdown and the SNAP changes that will end up kicking millions of people off the roads. We'll have those tough details ahead here on The Factor Uncensored. Don't go anywhere. All righty, welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. All tax season long, we're doing a special edition of Money is a Motive to prepare you for when you file those taxes. We're kicking it off with the two things happening at once tonight, tax season and the partial government shutdown. Is the shutdown going to have an effect for everyone getting their paperwork ready for the IRS and getting that refund? Let's get to our next guest, who also has an update on SNAP benefits and the changes you need to know. And joining us now is CPA and attorney Lucy Petrie. Lucy, a lot of people are concerned with this partial government shutdown going on, if they are going to get their tax refund, and they're wondering timeline. Should they start filing now, because the filing period began January 26th, and of course you have until April. But people don't want to wait around if these employees may be laid off or what as a result of the partial government shutdown. So what's your advice?
So definitely file early if you can. All the W-2 should be out. The 1099 should be going out by today. So definitely file early if you can. On the other hand, there is a little bit of funding left over that is going to hold up the IRS operations for at least another week or so. And remember, a lot of this check processing is automated. So if you e-file and select direct deposit, chances are your refund is not going to be affected. However, if for any reason your tax return processing or refund requires the attention of a human person and the IRS is shut down, it will definitely be delayed and affected. That will definitely delay your refund, and we don't know for how long. So advice is file early, choose e-file, and choose direct deposit.
There you go. And make sure you don't have any mistakes. That way you don't have to talk to a human. It will scare you to death anyway.
Right.
Let's move on to SNAP benefits. A lot of changes going into effect February. Work requirements, the type of food. Let's begin with work now. The changes when it comes to SNAP. Who will this affect?
Right. So it is going to affect current recipients. And basically, it's going to make it so people have to either be employed or looking for work or volunteering. And the volunteering is like 80 hours or training, volunteering or training, 80 hours out of the month. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they're going to make it a lot harder. And this is part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, and nationwide is set to go into effect this Sunday, but it actually, in Texas, went into effect a little bit early. So if you do not meet the requirements, you can only get SNAP for up to 3 months, and then you're no longer eligible.
Wow, and you kicked off the rolls. Now, do you know the exact ages that you're required, or everybody must work?
Well, it's those between the ages of 18 and 64. And it also takes away exemptions for those who were previously exempted from certain requirements, such as homeless, veterans, and children in foster homes, those with children in foster homes. They're really making this very difficult to receive. And when I was researching this topic, I came to realize that the average benefit per person, it's $190 per month. How can you eat with that much money? That is hardly anything. And these families really depend on this money.
And imagine that $190 disappearing if that's all you're surviving on. It's going to be a nightmare. Also, Let's talk about the types of food. Does that go into effect? Because we heard many Republicans saying they're misusing the SNAP benefits, and even some Democrats agreed with it. There should be some guidelines guidelines in place on what you buy with the SNAP in the last 30 seconds we have, Lucy.
Right. So there was actually a law that passed in Texas last year that limits what you can purchase. It was already limited that you can buy alcohol and cigarettes, but now you also cannot buy candy, certain drinks with sugar added. You cannot buy nuts. They're really making it very limited. The access to the products that you can buy. I think right now it is veggies, milk, cheese. And you cannot physically purchase. The card will not let you scan it if you are at the checkout.
And of course, we're hearing if retailers, store owners violate the rules, and they could lose access to accepting the cards, which will kill them as well. All right, Lucy, some rough news here today. We appreciate it. Thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. And still ahead tonight here on The Factor Uncensored, we celebrate 100 years of Black History Month. You're watching The Factor Uncensored. Don't go anywhere.
This program is being brought to you by Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer.
And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. This month officially marks 100 years of Black History Month. Soul food has been a longtime part of the fabric of Black culture, and we're talking about it tonight. Joining us now, we have with her Esther Lewis Bernard and Marvy S. of Esther's Kitchen. Glad to have you both here on The Factor Uncensored. And of course, you guys have quite the spread here tonight. So when we talk about the importance of soul food in America, we know it began, you know, when the Africans came here as slaves and they took whatever they could to make a dish for their families, mainly West African dishes, and then, of course, the migration after the Civil War. So how important is this food to our culture?
It's very important. Then, like you say, it was really hard for us and family. My mother had a family of 11 children, my mother and my father, so it was very hard. Back then, we was cooking. Mom was always cooking chicken and oxtails. Back then, oxtail was very cheap back then in the days.
Yeah, they were cheap back then. They're expensive now. I'm like, what the hell?
Yes.
Oxtails are expensive.
Yes, you're right. So I believe in, you know, the culture of, you know, these days with Martin Luther King, we want to keep it alive. You know, everything that's going on, you know, keep the memories alive, keep the community alive, you know. So I think it's very important for the young generation too as well.
And when you approached this idea of a soul food restaurant, were you cautious about it? Because people are picky about their soul food.
Oh, yes, most definitely they are. But that's how I was raised. You know, Mom, you know, we was raised that way of cooking food, you know, from the, like you see, all the food from, that was raised up from the crops and stuff. So it's very important to keep, you know, keep you healthy. But people are going now these days in more vegan style food, gluten-free food. But I feel like the soul food is very important as well, you know?
Do you make any adjustments for those who are like, I'm health conscious and I don't want to gain any weight, or I'm concerned about, you know, old school lard and all of that stuff? Have you made any changes in the way you make your soul food?
I'm working on making some changes, Isiah, because, you know, I'm a gluten-free person now, so guess what? I got to do it now, you know, to make the changes to, you know, because people are doing that more now. I have a daughter now that's really into exercising a lot and, you know, trying to stay healthy as well. So, yes, I'm making some changes in my restaurant as well. So you can come out and get some, you know, without having the pork and the bacon and all those things. You know, people come by and say, do you have pork in your greens? You know, so that's my goals to make some changes in the business as well. Yes. All right.
And Marvy, what are some of the dishes we have out here?
We have the oxtail, who would be my absolute favorite. The gumbo is also a top seller. The red beans and rice, greens, yams, the mac and cheese. Another of my favorite is the cornbread. There's the okra right here and the fried fish.
And you should be busy. We got a couple of big events coming up. First, Super Bowl, also Mardi Gras. What can people expect from Esther's for those days?
So far, we have specials running for Fat Tuesday.
Yes.
We have the Super Bowl, and we have mac and cheese, green specials, and chicken as well. And so we're looking forward to hosting and giving Black people a special time as well.
And also, we opened up a new location.
You'll take some white customers too, though, right?
For the most part, for the most part, I really, but I honestly like the idea of soul food. I think because you can always like mix it up. Either you're eating it from your mother's pot or elevating it. So. Everybody's welcome, I guess. Yeah, you're welcome.
Esther, I'm sure you have something to say about that, right? Everybody's welcome.
That's right. Everybody's welcome, Marvy. Everybody.
And when you take a look at these dishes that you have here, what would be your pride and joy? What are you most proud of? Where you're like, oh, you can't leave this spot until you have my...
Oxtails.
Oxtails.
Them oxtails and them green, them collard greens, and them yams and them macaroni and cheese. That's the #1 seller there.
All right.
Yes.
And for those who are looking for where you're located, where can they find you physically and on social media, Marvy?
So we're located in the Heights 5007,
right.
North Shepherd, and Instagram and Facebook is going to be Esther's Cajun Café.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. And we're just going to load all of this up and take it on home.
Well,
thank you. Thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. We appreciate it. And we'll be back with more Factor Uncensored. And, of course, we want to remind you to subscribe to The Factor's YouTube page. If not, let's fix that. Here's where you need to go. All you have to do is scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you right to the page where you can find all kinds of great content. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. I'm Isiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Here on The Factor, we cover news with grit and authenticity. We challenge the status quo and get down to real talk and bold discussions. Join us as we amplify the voices that disrupt, inspire, and lead the charge for change. Your story is power, and we're here to unleash it.
The ISIAH Factor Uncensored, weeknights at 10:30 on Fox 26 and streaming on Fox Local.
And that's all the time we have tonight here on The Factor Uncensored. I brought Esther back out. We're going to... What is this? Kool-Aid? Kool-Aid? There you go. There you go. Yes. Delicious. And a reminder, everyone, the Rainbow Coalition is welcome at Esther's, right, Esther?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And thank you guys for joining us, and have a great night. We're about to chow down, where everyone is welcome at Esther's. Marvy.
Everybody's welcome.